What's going on, gardeners? Today we are here at my friend Jeremy's house, and he is planting beautiful navel citrus tree. I'm gonna go over with you and let him ask questions how we are going to plant this from the very beginning to the very end. And we're gonna plant this beautiful navel citrus. It's October 18th here in the Phoenix, Arizona area. Perfect time to be planting citrus. So if you're watching this now and you've wanted to plant citrus, do it now. Get in your yard, dig a hole, and plant citrus. All right, Jeremy, so you're not a beginner, but I know you still have questions. So tell me, what questions do you have as you start to plant this tree?
Well, the first one you said, it's still time, in October, still time to plant here.
Yep.
What is the window? What's the time frame? When's the cutoff date?
Yeah, so really with citrus, you can plant it anytime from October, and you can plant them through winter, right? But if you plant it in the very, very cold of winter, you may have to protect it. But now through spring is a great time to plant it. The idea is get it in the ground, let it start getting its roots established, so that come summertime when it's really hot, it's not gonna suffer as much.
So the other thing is, you talk a lot about, planting things correctly. What are the 3 key things? Obviously, we dug the hole, I dug it beforehand.
Yep.
That I'm gonna pay attention to before I plant it.
Yep, okay.
Like
so,
width,
yeah.
root layer, all that.
Yep, I'm gonna set this in so I can demonstrate my point, but we have the hole dug, and we dug it twice as wide as the pot itself and the same height as the pot. Okay, so you can see that's what we've done. So that's number 1, twice as wide, same depth. The second thing is we want to make sure that we amend it. As you can see over here, we have this compost. We want to make sure we amend the hole. Now we don't want to go crazy and put all amendments in the hole, because then all we're doing is just creating a pot in the ground, and the roots are never going to have incentive to go into the rest of the soil. So I do a backfill of 75% native soil, 25% compost, worm castings, and mycorrhizal fungi. That's number 2. Then the third thing, and honestly the biggest thing, that as I go out to more clients' houses and do more consults that I see, is not burying the tree too deep. So you can see here, and this is the case with almost every single plant you buy at the nursery, it's going to be planted too deep in the nursery pot. So a lot of people say, well, I'm just gonna plant it at the soil level, and that's gonna be fine, it's not gonna be planted too deep. That's wrong. What you want to do is dig in here until you find that main root flare, which is just the main root right off of the trunk. And that's the level that you're shooting for. So if you see right here, I don't know if you can tell, here is the main root flare, okay? So that's what we want to keep exposed and above ground. One other thing, every time you dig a hole and plant something, it's going to settle. So you always want to err on the side of planting it too high rather than too low, because it will settle, and we don't want the roots buried. And I have another video that you can watch about that, where I talk about root flares and the stress it's going to cause your trees and how it's going to kill your trees with time. So those are the 3 things. Dig the hole the right way, amend with soil, and don't plant it too deep.
See how high that is right there?
Yep, so it's right about, I would still,
I'm gonna go higher.
Let's raise it even higher. Again, when you're thinking about this and you're like, oh, I'm not sure, is it too high, too low? Always err on the side of being too high. You will not kill a tree by planting it too high. You will kill a tree by planting it too low. So now we're gonna start putting in the amendments, mixing it up. Some people will mix it up in a wheelbarrow, in a pot. Hold up on that, Jeremy, because some people will mix it in a wheelbarrow, in a pot. I kind of just like to mix it all together here in the hole. Again, don't go overboard with the amendments. 75% native soil, 25% amended soil. And the reason I said to hold up on the mycorrhizal fungi is because what I like to do, because what mycorrhizal fungi does is it attaches to the roots of the tree. And so I like to get the tree in the hole, out of the pot, with the roots exposed all on the sides, and then put in the mycorrhizal fungi so that we make sure it has contact with the roots. Yeah, check their height on that. I think that's good. And then what we'll do is once we get it in the hole, we'll also pull back the soil as well from the trunk again. Not too much.
I'll come either side.
Okay. Set it in, make it look nice, arrange it how you want it.
They tend to grow out first or up?
Probably out. And that's one thing with citrus too. Be aware when you plant it. For the most part, for the first 2 to 3 years, they don't do much. They're taking their time, they're getting settled, they're extending their roots, they're getting happy. And then after that 3rd year is when they really explode. So if you plant a citrus and it's not doing anything for the first year, that's okay. Stay patient, it will explode.
So that leads me to the question, you know, I like to just like pack stuff in.
Yep.
I need to probably keep this clear, right, of anything else that I might plant above it,
Yes,
whatnot.
yes. So one thing with citrus and all fruit trees, if you're doing what a lot of people like to refer to as a food forest, if you're packing it in like Jeremy does, most fruit trees, they need 6 to 8 hours of sun to be able to be happy, be healthy, and produce fruit. If they're getting too much shade, they're not going to produce fruit like you're hoping or like you're expecting. There we go. So now once you get it out of the pot, you can kind of come in here and level it out. And let's check the depth as well. You can see right here, started pulling this stuff back. Don't worry, you can't hurt it. And let's see, it's level. Obviously it's not exact, but that is above grade. For sure above grade over here and above grade over here. So I feel happy about that. So now we can put some of that mycorrhizal fungi in. We want to get it right here at the root ball. So make sure it attaches to these roots because that's how it works. You don't need a lot. And then from there, we can go in filling in the rest of the hole. Again, 75% native soil, 25% amended soil. One thing while Jeremy keeps doing that, you can see here the nursery stake. Sometimes if the root ball is not, just seems weak and it's not super sturdy, I'll leave the nursery stake in for a few weeks. There's no issue with that. But with most trees, you want to take the nursery stake out. And if it needs to be staked, if the trunk is kind of weak, you put 2 stakes on either side and then attach it, but leave it loose so that the trunk has room to sway, because that's how the trunk gets strong. You got to stress it a little bit as it moves. You don't want it to just be completely stiff. So once we get it planted, we will remove this. And just by looking at this, I don't think we need any additional stakes, but we will remove this.
So that's a question I have for you, because you see a lot of stuff that's planted and people have 1 stake. Some of them I'll just put it behind it because it's not big enough for 2 stakes.
Yeah.
I think you told me all that matters is that it has room to, it's not right up against the root, and it has room to
sway and move.
sway and,
Yep.
and get the root strong.
Yep, exactly. Because as it sways in the wind and moves, it will continue to strengthen itself. So I'm just throwing a little bit here, not much. We'll top dress it with compost and with mulch. All right, so what I'm gonna start doing now as we do this, because I wanna make sure we're not planting too deep, I'm pulling all of this soil back from the trunk. And actually, so that I can properly do that right now, let's remove this stake.
Okay. And I think I've talked to you about this before. Do you pack this dirt down, or do you let it just settle itself?
Along the edges, sometimes I will, but I don't much at all. You don't really need to. It will settle with time on its own. But you can see here how, lift this up so the camera can see. It was buried to about right here in the pot. So you can see it was buried to here, but we've removed that much and we've exposed these initial roots. That's what we want. This is part of the trunk. These big roots, the root flare is part of the trunk. It's not part of the root system. This needs to be able to breathe and it needs to be clean, and it doesn't want to be wet constantly. So this needs to be above the ground, above the soil.
Is that all trees?
All trees. The only exception is palm trees. They're a little bit different. And these, you might be, oh, what's gonna happen with these? These will, with time, just kind of go away. You don't need to worry about that. Just make sure that these are exposed. Even when you add mulch back to it, you don't want to pile mulch and compost and things up against the trunk. Leave the root flares, the initial roots, exposed. Make sure you use quality compost. We get all our compost from Arizona Worm Farm. It's local, it's awesome, it's full of life. Want to get the soil biology in the ground to start working. So we always top it all off with a good compost and then with a good mulch. And now when you're watering these, a lot of people have questions about how do I water it initially. For the first 2 weeks, you want to make sure that the root ball, and the root ball is all the stuff that came inside of the pot, right? The initial tree that you just planted. That needs to stay It can't dry out. You don't want to over wet it, right? You don't want it to be soaked, sitting there in standing water, but you do want to make sure that it doesn't dry out for the first 2 weeks. So everybody, you're planting at different times of the year. Everybody's climate is different, some hotter, some colder. So I don't say exactly you need to water it every day. Just don't let it dry out. That could mean watering it every day, could mean watering it every 3 days. Just don't let it dry out. After that, you can start to space it out.
So once it gets established, because this is irrigation, will I have to have a drip or something to fit?
So once it's established with the irrigation right here, most likely no. But it's going to take a few years for it to get those roots and get the roots here into the irrigation. Right. So you will have to hand water it or put irrigation on it. In my yard, and I know most in your yard, we're watering once a week, deep water once a week. Irrigation comes what, every 2 weeks?
Now in the winter, it'll be once a month.
Okay. During the summer though, every 2 weeks?
Yes.
Okay. And that is fine with these types of trees once they're established. They can be just fine with only getting watered every 2 weeks. And then we add the mulch. That helps. A lot of people say, well, you're only watering every week or every 2 weeks. Well, when you add mulch like this, it retains the moisture. It shades the ground. The sun can't hit it. It doesn't heat up as much. So mulch is your friend. Again, a common mistake I see people do is they put mulch in and they make a mulch volcano, which drives me crazy. They take the mulch and they stack it up here against the trunk like a volcano. Do not do that. We keep it away from the trunk, right? Because with time anyways, the roots are gonna grow out here. The feeder roots are going to be out here, not right next to the trunk. So when we feed the tree, when we water the tree, everything that we do to help the tree, we do it to the roots out here, not up here. So don't put all the food here, don't put the mulch up here, spread it out. All right guys, so here is this awesome, new, beautiful navel citrus tree. It's planted, it's gonna be happy. We fed it properly in the hole. We have the mulch, we're gonna water it properly. Root flare is exposed, and now we just sit back and wait. And here in a few years, Jeremy's gonna have awesome navel citrus. If you all have any questions about what we did, put them in the comments. I will respond to you or even make a video just for you. Thanks for watching guys, and we'll see you in the next video.